What?
Cut! No, man. You're making me fall asleep. To death, bro. Okay, the line is... Say what?
Hello, how are you doing? This is going to be a video detailing the angular size change of the sun from, let's say, noon to sunset, or sunrise to noon. This is a topic that comes up as a globe earth proof often the time against flat earth. And I've always said in comments to globe earth people, over the past year at least anyway, that I've said when they brought it up against me in comments on videos, that it's a bigger problem for the globe model than the flat earth model. And the reason for that is, if I stand on a beach and a globe earth believer stands next to me, pick anyone, right, who believes in the globe, okay, and we're looking at the sun. The sun is the same size light in the sky. Now, regardless of what your belief is of the size of it and its origin, in the globe model, in the flat earth model, all we know, right, in the flat earth model is that it's a lot smaller and closer. I'm not going to go into it's this size and it's this far away, because we don't know for definite, and by all accounts the sun is extremely difficult to triangulate. So so it's a bit of a mystery, and anyone that tells you they can triangulate it no bother are really talking through their backside, because it's been a known thing by science that the sun is unbelievably hard to triangulate. So trying to measure it and get a feel of where it is and what distance it is very, very, very difficult. So if me and someone who's a globe believer is standing on a beach at noon looking up at the sun, that sun is the same size in the sky. Let's say a basketball size sun, or the size of a gym ball, whichever you want, it doesn't really matter. It's the same size for both of us. We're both looking at the sun, and the sun is exactly the same size. So regardless of what our beliefs are at that moment, the sun is the same size. Whether you believe as a globe believer that you're going to move away from it, and it's 93 million miles away, and it's 864 something thousand, 0.337 miles in diameter or whatever, or I believe that it's a lot smaller and closer and it's going to move away from me as opposed to me moving away from it, it doesn't matter, because at that exact time the sun is exactly the same size.
Say what?
All right, so I'm sorry to break the news to you there, Brian boy, but like I was trying to explain to you in our debate that you just gobbledygooked your way out of, the Earth is 3,959 miles in its radius, okay? That's the Earth's radius. The sun is an average distance of 92.96 million miles away. All right, when we do the math, that is only 0.0000641% of a distance change on a globe Earth. You are not going to see that change, angular change in the sun. That is a minute change in angular size. I mean, you literally would have to have instruments to check that change. But now, you want to spout off the inverse square law? That's your problem. That's not ours. The inverse square law affects your local small sun horribly. If your sun, let's say, averaged 3,000 miles, was a local sun, as it moved closer and further away from us, we would see its angular size change 3 times the size it started out as, getting bigger as it came towards us, and it would change 3 times smaller as it went away from us. You can't get away with that. You can't get away from it. There's nothing you can do, Brian, to change that fact. And all your gobbledygook and you're making up shit and you're trying to make up new laws of physics doesn't work, dude. You could say that you could scream that shit till you're blue in the face. You're full of shit, and you know you're full of shit. So every time I hear you talk, this is what I think.
Our instinct's still in our DNA.
I'm pretty much sure it's pronounced DNA.
Don't tell me what I know, Travis.
Than the flat Earth model. And the reason for that is, if I stand on a beach and a globe Earth believer stands next to me, pick anyone, right, who believes in the globe, okay, and we're looking at the sun. The sun is the same size light in the sky. Now, regardless of what your belief is of the size of it and its origin, in the globe model, in the flat Earth model, all we know, right, in the flat Earth model is that it's a lot smaller and closer. I'm not going to go into it's this size and it's this far away because we don't know for definite. And by all accounts, the sun is extremely difficult to triangulate. So, so it's a bit of a mystery. And anyone that tells you they can triangulate it, no bother, are really talking through their backside. Because it's been a known thing by science that the sun is unbelievably hard to triangulate. So trying to measure it and get a feel of where it is and what distance it is very, very, very difficult. So if me and someone who's a globe believer is standing on a beach at noon looking up at the sun, that sun is the same size in the sky. Let's say a basketball size sun or the size of a gym ball, whichever you want, it doesn't really matter. It's the same size for both of us. We're both looking at the sun, and the sun is exactly the same size. So regardless of what our beliefs are at that moment, the sun is the same size. Whether you believe as a globe believer that it is you're going to move away from it, and it's 93 million miles away, and it's 864 or something thousand, 0.337 miles in diameter or whatever, or I believe that it's a lot smaller and closer and it's going to move away from me as opposed to me moving away from it. It doesn't matter, because at that exact time the sun is exactly the same size for both of us in the sky. Now, this is the thing. In accordance with the inverse square law of light, the sun or any other light, once you've moved away from that light, or that light moves away from you, double the distance, then it becomes only 1/4 the size. Now, on the flat Earth model, our sun is smaller. If you want to call things models, our sun is smaller, and our sun is a lot closer. And what it does is it disappears into the horizon. It converges into the horizon. It moves away at an angle. It doesn't just move straight in a straight line. It moves away at an angle, and it converges into the horizon, and it compresses from the bottom up. And that is a natural thing. Everything compresses from the bottom up to converge into the horizon. That is a natural thing. It happens with mountains, happens with everything. You can take any amount of video of things, cars, anything, people walking in the distance, anything moving into your horizon line, and they will start compressing from the bottom up. Now, the thing about this is, yes, it should really, if you were to just look at it as just a light, it should really change in angular size as when it goes from noon to sunset, let's just say, on the flat Earth model. But there is more to it than that. The sun leaves a mirage behind. And this is not just me saying this. There was mainstream science that talks about this. It leaves a mirage behind, and it's actually on a hot day. What you'll notice is that when it comes to evening time, the sun is still the same size in the sky. Before it goes to sunset, it's still the same size in the sky, but the same heat is not there. So the sun is actually, where the sun really is not what we're looking at. As I said earlier, it's very hard to get a handle on where it is. It's very hard to triangulate. It's a apparent place in the sky. Let's just say it's like it's leaving a mirage behind, and that mirage is converging with the horizon. Now, it's very tricky. I'm not going to go trying to explain the sun, okay, and what it's doing and what it does. Because to say that you know what the sun does and is doing, and you know all about it, would be ridiculously arrogant, and it would be wrong. Nobody really knows. There are so many different schools of thought in physics and everything on this. There are so many people that believe it's all different things. Some people actually believe it's a type of molten glass. Okay, and that's not flat earth people. That's like physics, physicists, and I've watched some videos and different things over the past few months on it, and there was all different schools of thought on it. But this is the problem. Yes, it moves away from us on the flat earth model. I don't know how far away it moves away. Let's just say it's 200 miles wide, and it moves away 100 miles to set. Now, it's probably smaller, right, and probably doesn't need to move away that far. So let's just say you could say it's 50 miles wide and moves away 10 miles to set, or to converge into the horizon. Now remember, what you're looking at that stage is the apparent sun. Possibly it's possibly just miraging at that stage, and it's what you're seeing becoming part of the horizon is possibly just a mirage at that point. Now, I couldn't say for definite that that's 100% true, because as I said, I don't know, okay? But this is the thing. So, globe earthers, if you want to say to flat earth people like myself that the sun should change angular size as it's setting, right, and say that it doesn't. Now, I have seen many videos that shows that it does, but I'm not here to argue whether it does or doesn't. My point here is that if it doesn't change angular size, if it doesn't change angular size, right, then that's a bigger problem for the globe model than the flat earth model, in accordance with the inverse square law of light. Because the inverse square law of light takes two things into account. One, it's the light and your distance from the light, okay, whether you can see it or how big it is. And two, it's your eyes. Your eyes are part of the inverse square law of light, okay? Because without your eyes, you wouldn't be seeing any light, right? So it's not just that the light moved away from you.
And again, just because you say a bunch of stuff that don't make sense doesn't give an excuse for what we see. You think, just like you did in our debate, you try to claim a bunch of bullshit that left me so flabbergasted that I didn't even know how to answer you, because it was such garbage that you was just making shit up as you went. And then you had to revert to, when I kept your feet on the fire about it, you finally just broke down and said, oh, well, we don't really know what the sun is, so therefore how can we tell what the change is? It doesn't matter. It's a visible object in the sky. The sun is where we see it in the sky. It's not in a different place. And it's a visible object, so therefore, if it was local and close and inside of our dome, it would obey it would obey the laws of perspective. You can't get around that. You can't say, oh, this boat obeys the law of perspective, but the sun doesn't. And the garbage you're spewing about things disappearing from the bottom up is bullshit. And here comes a video to show that it is.
Take some photographs, I suppose, and show you what I've got. So just bear with me whilst I set my camera up.
So before we see his results, let's remind ourselves of how monumental his achievements have been so far. Number one, he's the man who filmed a boat going over the horizon. We'll see some of that later on. Number two, he's got up at the crack of dawn on a Sunday morning to go to a 100-metre racetrack to film something that I've requested to prove me right. Is there anything else he could have done to make this situation worse? Yeah, there is. You see, I was watching this live stream, and for some reason he accidentally made me a moderator on his own channel. Yeah, so Flat Earth or Anti-Flat Earth, the guy who filmed a boat going over the horizon with the P1000, the guy that's about to disprove the angle of attack with the P1000, then makes me, a recognised globe earther, a moderator in his own chat box. Now, did I A, take the mature approach and just watch the stream? Or did I B, start kicking Flat Earthers out of his own channel? Yeah, you've guessed it. This guy, Russ McGarry, he was the first to go. But at least you can tell from the screenshot, I did warn him. Now, while I was having fun kicking people out around his comment section, he actually took the photograph. Now let's have a look at the results. Do we think that we'll actually see things disappearing from the bottom? Let's have a look.
And we're already getting some inferior mirages, although we're not losing any of the actual target.
No, Ranty, we weren't losing any of the actual target. Nothing was disappearing from the bottom up. Totally proving my point and disproving this angle of attack nonsense. This is worth listening to just another couple of times.
We're not losing any of the actual target. We're not losing any of the actual target.
My point here is that if it doesn't change angular size, sorry, if it doesn't change angular size, right, then that's a bigger problem for the globe model than the flat earth model, in accordance with the inverse square law of light. Because the inverse square law of light takes two things into account. One, it's the light and your distance from the light, okay, whether you can see it or how big it is. And two, it's your eyes. Your eyes are part of the inverse square law of light, okay? Because without your eyes, you wouldn't be seeing any light, right? So it's not just that the light moved away from you, it's your eyes and how your eyes, how far your eyes are able to determine that light, let's just say from the background. How well your eyes are able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Able to, like single out that light, okay? So, as I said, flat earth model moves away from you, and if you're saying it doesn't change angular size, then it should. If it doesn't change angular size, and it is expected to do so in accordance with the inverse square law of light, yes, that is a problem. I agree, and I don't have an answer for it if it doesn't. As I said, I've seen many videos that shows that it does, but if it doesn't, I don't have an answer for it. Okay, not at the moment. The mirage thing is very interesting, and I'm looking into that, but I'm not going to go making any definites. As I say, the sun is a mystery in a big way. Now, I have a lot more things to add to it than that, but I'm not going to go into them in this video. More concepts that would actually be probably interesting to whoever listens to it, but I'm not going into them now. That would be for our later videos. The point I'm going to work on now is the globe model. In the globe model, right, I'm just going to go get the calculator here. In the globe model, the Earth, okay, is 21,600 nautical miles, okay, in circumference. That's 21,600 nautical miles in circumference. Okay, I might just go back and just do it without the 21,600, make it easier. So it's 21,600 nautical miles in circumference. That's 24,900 statute miles. And we'll work off nautical miles, okay, in circumference. So we'll divide that by 4, right? And that equals 5,400, okay? So from noon to sunset, your eyes and you, right, on the globe model is spinning away from that sun that's the exact same size light to me and to you at noon you're spinning away from it on the globe model 5,400 nautical miles for it to set. Now think about that. So from noon to sunset, you're spinning away from it 5,400 nautical miles. Now, on the flat Earth model, how far away it moves from you to set is undetermined. It moves away a much shorter distance. It's nowhere near 5,400 nautical miles. So if the light in the sky for me and for you is the same exact size, and it's not changing angular size, then yes, that's a problem for the flat Earth model, right? It's something that needs to be looked at. But it's also a much huger problem for the globe model, because it should change angular. If it should change angular size for a flat Earth model, it should definitely change angular size for the globe model, as you're spinning away from it 5,400 nautical miles, regardless of how far, regardless of the fact that it's 864.337 or whatever it is, 1,000 miles in diameter. Now, it could have that wrong. It could be 846.337, something like that. But it's over 800 odd, whatever it is, 1,000 miles in diameter. It's 93 million miles away. So at 93 million miles away, right, it is exactly the same size in your sky as in my sky, regardless of what I believe I'm standing on and what you believe you're standing on. So it's moving away from me. If it's 50 miles wide, it's moving away from me 10 miles. Okay? So that's not, I don't, like 10 miles, if it's 50 miles wide and it's moving away from me 10 miles to set, yes, there should be an angular change, angular size change. But on the globe model, it's moving away 5,400. You're moving away from it 5,400 nautical miles. So there should be a much huger angular size change, because the inverse square law of light, okay, is in accordance with the light you're looking at and the size it is right there and then. It doesn't matter what size it is at its origin, how far away it's at the commentative there, it's what size it is there and then. So in accordance with that, your model should have hardly any sun. It should just be a dot on the horizon, if anything, at 5,400 nautical miles. So the next time, if any globe believers that watch this, the next time you go hassling flat Earth people about how come the sun is not changing angular size, as I said, I've seen videos to show the opposite, but I'm not going to argue with it. The next time you want to have an argument about that, remember, you're spinning away from this sun that's the exact same size in the sky as it is for you, as it is for me. You're spinning away from it on your belief, your model that you believe, okay, that you were taught and continue to believe, okay. You're spinning away from it 5,400 nautical miles. So that alone gives credence to the flat Earth model, because even though it may not be changing in angular size in accordance to what the globe side is saying, on our model, it's very, very big in accordance to us, but it's tiny in accordance to in comparison to the sun in your model. And the distance it has to go to set is only in miles. It can't even be that. It wouldn't even have to be too far. Even if it was 100 miles, it's nothing. That size of a light, this going 100 miles away from you is a tiny fraction of that size of a light. You moving away from that size of a light, 5,400 nautical miles. So 5,400 nautical miles. That's what you have to remember the next time you want to say to flat earthers, how come the sun is not changing angular size? Right? If you think that's a proof for the globe, then once again, this seems to be a glaring mistake the globe continually makes over and over and over and over again. And that is that you continually point the finger, but you never look at your own model. You just accept whatever it is and just, oh, we'll do all the calculations, we'll do this, we'll do that. You do every kind of mathematical calculation you can, but you won't look at the model. So the next time you're thinking about hassling flat Earth about its angular size sun change, then you need to be thinking about 5,400 nautical miles that you're supposed to be moving away from it. So how could you be moving as a globe believer? How could you be moving 5,400 nautical miles away from a light in the sky that's the same size on our model, that that could only move anywhere between 10 and 100 miles away from you. And you're trying to say that the flat out model is flawed. There might be now I don't know, as I said, I don't know why. If it isn't changing angular size, then I don't know why it isn't, right? But if it isn't, then it's a much huger problem for your model than for ours. Here is, I'm just going to go to here, right? Here is, this is from the Griffith Observatory, okay? This is supposedly the sun going across the sky, okay? Now, there does seem to be some kind of angular size change, but then again it could come down to the fact that it's just closer to you here, okay? So it's not actually gone to the point of actually set. They're only showing it from here to here, so it's not actually have to get to the point of actually setting. But there might be some angular change, there may not be, I can't really tell right there and then. I can't tell. But if there isn't, remember, this is the size of the sun in your sky. And that's the size of the sun in my sky. And if it's not changing angular size from sunrise to from sunrise to noon and noon to sunset, then that's a much bigger problem for ye than it is for us. Because we have a bit of a problem, but ye have a huge chunk of a problem. And there's no point in saying to me in the comments, you don't understand, it's 93 million miles away. That has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter how far away it is. Look at the size it is far away, and then think about it's just that same size in the sky. So if you're moving 5,400 nautical miles away from that, then that should definitely be changing angular size. So think about that the next time you want to start pointing the finger at flat out and saying that a proof of the globe is the non-angular size change on the flat out model. Right? Proof of the globe, that is not proof of the globe. That goes completely against the globe, 100,000 million times against the globe. But you're not seeing that because you're not looking at your own model. You're too busy. You're too busy not learning about the flat out. You're too busy not learning about your model. You're too busy. You're too busy just taking any proof and running with it, right? And this is a prime example, because I'm sick of listening to this, and I'm sick of telling people this. And anyone I tell them, this can't be disproven. You're supposed to be turning 5,400 miles away from it, and if you're not making angular size change, massive angular size change, then that means there's something majorly flawed with your model. So have a think about that before you before you decide to start giving us hassle again about it. You need to solve the problem for yourselves before you can start hassling us about our problem with it, because your problem is much huger.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.